Hello and welcome back to Chapter 17, Religion. I believe that the human species has really lost its way when it comes to religion and having faith in higher power. I feel that people are very misguided in their beliefs. They use religion as an excuse to not really have to think about what they truly believe is right and wrong. On that note, I'd like to let everyone know that I believe in all paths to God, and that's because I believe that everyone has their own path. Singling out any one is a mistake only because of all the information and all the knowledge that you're missing out on by excluding any of the other paths. I truly believe we can create a system that respects all faiths and all religions and uses a different method of teaching people in order to help them understand themselves and help them understand their place in the world. And basically, that system is exactly what I said like 2 seconds ago. It's a system where people don't really have to choose any one religion that they really associate with. They can study all religions, and that's really considered blasphemy in most all religions. All of them would tell you that theirs is the right one, theirs is the only one, and that anyone that thinks otherwise is an infidel, a blasphemer, or a heretic, anything like that, and that's really not the case. Honestly, a higher being with basically unlimited power and unlimited knowledge would probably not really care if people thought of him or called him a certain name, and that obviously doesn't mean that you should call them bad names, but it doesn't really matter as long as you live a good life and you treat other people with kindness. There's really no difference in what you call your God, what the name of your faith is. And I think that's really what people have started to go down the wrong path. It's not that they're completely wrong. No one is completely wrong. No religion is completely wrong. It's just the way that we go about things that I believe is gone on the wrong way. Not that my way is or always has to be the right way. I just think that we lose so many people when we become zealots and we can only see the one path. That's just kind of close minded. It's really not thinking about everything, and there's so many people out there that you just turn off to religion and having faith when you put it in such a constricted form. You're really not leaving it open for everyone. And I know that people would say that, okay, well, that's the point. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be, and it's not even that I'm trying to say. It's just that having faith and having a religion isn't easy on its own. It's really hard to accept for a lot of people. And if we were to create a system that would embrace all faiths, study them and learn them, and yes, eventually you could pick a certain one, but only after getting all that you could from as many of them as you could. That being said, there are a lot of similarities between many, many different religions. The virgin birth, the death and resurrection, a lot of the dates and a lot of other things line up with pagan Christianity and a lot of other religions. And that's just, in my opinion, that's because I'm not necessarily blaming people for copying other religions, but it's entirely possible that that is what happened. And or there is another possibility. I'll get into that after this, but historians and other researchers say that it was the Emperor Constantine held a conference to decide on what stories and things should be in the Bible. And they say he did that because he was worried about civil unrest in his empire and he was worried about losing power. So what he did, originally being pagan, is take all the stories and whatnot from other faiths and other dates and things like that, and basically created Christianity. And I know I just offended a lot of people, but you never know. There's also the other side of the story, like I said, I was going to get into in a little bit. The similarities are there because the things that happen keep happening. You know, that somewhere a lot of times you'll find in old scriptures or this and that that things that happen will happen again. And you never know. The whole phenomenon of Christianity's savior and Messiah, Jesus, could have happened before. Horus, I believe, was born of a virgin. He died and he was resurrected. You know, there's a whole, like, I think like three or four other similarities in between the two. You never know. It could have been something that just happened 4,000 years ago, and then 2,000 years ago it happened again. 2,000 years after, it could happen one more time. You never know. There could just be misinterpretations or something of that nature that happen, and people end up fixating on one set of rules or one set of information and kind of ignoring the rest. And then when that information gets presented, they just try to deny it or feel that it is a personal attack or an attack on their faith itself, and when really that's not the case. Especially with the topic of creationism. People take that so very literally, and I really feel that it can be taken a lot of different ways. I'm a big believer in, I guess, the Big Bang Theory, and I don't see any reason why that disproves any sort of creationism. Obviously, it would kind of make it hard to fit in a way, but you never know. When stories are translated, told, and retold, things get kind of muddled, and I believe that the universe was created and that eventually it will undergo the same kind of process. There's a thing that happens to stars when they die. They become these things that are super dense and have massive, massive amounts of gravity. Depending on what the size of the star is, it can become a black hole, it can become a pulsar, a quasar, a white dwarf, or a neutron star. And all of those things are just super dense forms of matter, and depending on how big the star was originally, depends on how big or how dense the matter ends up collecting when it goes supernova. Some people out there still think that black holes are just this kind of doorway that everything kind of gets sucked into. And now that we know a lot more about how they operate theoretically, I mean, it's still in the works, but a black hole is not a hole. It's a super dense form of matter that was created, obviously, like I said before, from a supernova. And the running theory about the universe is that it's expanding, and it's expanding theoretically because of the original Big Bang. Some people believe that it will keep expanding and all the matter in all the universe will be so far apart and all the stars will burn out that it'll all just dissipate. I don't really think that's the case. I think all of the pulsars, quasars, black holes, supermassive black holes will all eventually recombine, and that total amount of force spread throughout the galaxy will overcome the push of the original Big Bang, if that is what happened, and they will all start to come together to form all the matter in all the universe back into one single point. And once that happens, the Big Bang will happen again because it's just too much matter, too much energy to have in one single point. And in that way, like I was saying before, the universe and the world operates in cycles. So you never know. I'm not trying to say that creationism is wrong. Obviously, Adam and Eve probably could not have had genetic offspring that survived and multiplied into the 7 million people we have today, but like I said, that could have just been a misinterpretation. It's not necessarily trying to disprove anything. It could just be something that happened long before or something that had been misinterpreted at the time. So, just a little recap, I suppose. I feel that if we were to organize a new way of looking at religion by studying all the faiths in all the world, we can really overcome a lot of our differences and learn a lot more about ourselves. I think like I said before, that this is one of the major steps to having a really long lasting world peace and really putting an end to people just doing these terrible things to each other. I have obviously, a lot more things to say, and if you have any sort of opinions, please post them here. If you have anything you'd like to say, I will do updates. I will do anything I can to help people out, to understand my way of thinking, and hopefully solve this problem that we all have. So, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, comment, obviously share if you can, and thanks again.